Rocky, let's go check out the dessert table,
said an excited Sammy the Skunk to his best buddy. The big patio outside Beatrice's home, where all the friends frequently gathered, was the beehive of activity. Table after table had the most delicious foods and beverages spread out over them. Solomon and Sylvia Skunk prepared a magnificent feast of roast vegetables, while Deacon and Daniela Deer were preparing a wide variety of mushrooms and other delectables that Daniela was so good at finding within the forest. Sammy and Rocky approached the first dessert table that was filled with scrumptious pies. Rocky was salivating and reached over to dip his finger into the top of the pumpkin pie to sample it.
Now,
Cautioned Beatrice.
you know dessert comes after dinner, Rocky.
Rocky laughed along with Sammy and Beatrice, stating,
Oh, I know! This just looks so good!
How about a scone with some of my homemade strawberry jam to hold you over until dinner?
offered Beatrice. Rocky and Sammy accepted. Harold the Horse and Danny Deer were sitting side by side watching the activities, while also keeping an eye on the approaching path. Those two had become quite close in their friendship, and they enjoyed spending a lot of time together. Before long, an unfamiliar set of footsteps was heard from around the far bend of the path. Danny, having excellent hearing, was the first to stand up and alert Harold.
I heard it too,
responded Harold. They stood up on alert, cautiously watching the path. It wasn't long before a fisher cat appeared, and then another, followed by another. Only this time they weren't marching in a line, 10 fisher cats long, standing 2 by 2. Rather, they were just walking together and appeared to be happy. As the fisher cats neared the two friends, Harold spoke out in a foreboding voice.
What do you want?
Oh, pardon us,
replied the lead fisher cat in a meek voice.
We just wanted to introduce ourselves. Say hi to the other creatures of the forest.
And welcome indeed,
responded Freddie as he hopped up between Harold and Danny.
I have been very much looking forward to meeting you all.
Harold and Danny looked at each other confused. Upon hearing the commotion, all the friends started to gather around in curiosity. The lead fisher cat went on.
You see, we don't really have many friends in this forest, because most of the creatures don't really like the way we look, or the sounds that we make. We kind of feel that other creatures have made an opinion of us, without really knowing who we are.
I can relate to that,
replied Sammy.
But why were you helping that mean old witch?
asked Martha.
We had no choice,
responded the first fisher cat.
She had cast a spell on us that would inflict severe pain if we ever disobeyed her, and she threatened to destroy all our families and homes if even one of us escaped.
Oh, poor dears.
Suddenly,
the fisher cat added,
the curse just disappeared, and we knew that the witch could not inflict any more trouble on us. We noticed a blue aura off over the horizon and made our way back down the path from which we were running to investigate. But before we got too close, we saw all of you, fine creatures, talking about something that had just happened. And you all seemed to really enjoy each other and get along. At this, we realized you were all responsible for lifting our curse. However, we were shy to meet you since you seemed to be helping the witch.
Not to worry,
replied Freddie.
We understand your predicament, and we are delighted to now finally be able to make your acquaintance.
Some of the fisher cats near the back of the group stepped forward, carrying more food and delicious desserts, asking, May we join you this evening?
You bet you can!
called Rocky, and then a little embarrassed added,
And I'm sorry I pelted you with those acorns. That was my idea.
Everyone, including all the fisher cats, laughed. The evening wore on, and everyone was having a wonderful time together and making even more new friends. After a while, Beatrice called out to Freddie,
Freddie dear, do you remember when we first met? You told us that you would tell us how you were able to perform all of those wonderful and heroic deeds.
Indeed I did,
replied Freddie as everyone gathered around. Freddie took a sip of his tea and leaned back in his chair.
My great-great-great-great-grandmother was once friends with the great Wampanoag chief Metacom. Metacom and Shaman and my great-great-great-great-grandmother also became good friends, and the shaman taught my great-great-great-great-grandmother many things.
Beatrice leaned into Martha and whispered,
I think we've heard this before.
Martha had to stifle a laugh. However, Freddie just looked over at his two dear friends and smiled, saying,
Now I'll continue and tell you all.
Freddie recalled the story passed down through generations of his family of how his great-great-great-great-grandmother, Faith Frog, had first met the great Wampanoag chief Metacomet and his shaman. Faith Frog lived in a beautiful pond next to the largest boulder anyone had ever seen. One day, while enjoying the nice weather, Faith had noticed a strange figure sitting on top of the big boulder. Faith climbed behind the strange figure, careful not to be seen in order to get a better look. Once atop the boulder and carefully positioned behind the figure, Faith sat and studied. There, sitting in front of a pool overlooking the entire forest, sat a still figure, legs crossed and palms facing the sky with her eyes closed. She appeared to be in deep meditation. Very curious indeed, Faith thought. However, there was something extremely peaceful and calming about this strange figure. After a while, Faith noticed another figure that walked on two legs, slowly creeping up on the strange figure with her legs crossed. Faith watched in fascination as the new figure slowly approached, sneaking up on the first. Suddenly she gasped as this new figure pulled his arm back and was about to hurl a sharp object attached to a stick right at the first serene figure. Faith quickly leaped into action without even considering the consequences. She jumped so high and far, landing on the attacker's head and startling him. The attacker jumped back, not knowing what was going on, and dropped his hatchet. This caused a commotion, and yet another new large strong figure came running up on the side of the massive boulder. The attacker saw this, and not realizing that he had dropped his weapon, now realized that he was defenseless against the new figure. He reached up to his head and grabbed Faith, throwing her hard to the ground. Then he ran off as fast as he could down the other side of the massive boulder. Poor Faith hit the ground hard, but she was not seriously hurt. "Who are you?" yelled the large, strong figure at Faith as he looked down the massive boulder to ensure the menace was gone. "Easy, Metacom," replied the serene figure. "This is someone I've been waiting to meet." Faith was surprised. "You know who I am?" The serene figure responded, "This is Metacomet, the leader of our Wampanoag tribe, and I am the shaman. I sit here and pray to the great creator and ask for him for guidance. So that I may help Metacomet lead the Wampanoag. The great creator has told me that I would be meeting a new friend who would save me from an attack." This prompted the large, strong, and mighty Metacomet to extend his welcome to Faith, and invited Faith to meet his tribe. Faith happily accepted, and soon she and the Wampanoag shaman became inseparable friends. The shaman came to realize that Faith was very wise indeed, and over time taught Faith about the great creator and how it was possible to talk and have a relationship with them. She taught Faith why she liked to sit atop the massive boulder overlooking the forest in front of the reflecting pool. It helped her achieve great serenity when talking with the great creator.
As the years passed on, and the shaman and my great-great-great-great-grandmother passed into the next world, all the wisdom imparted from the wise shaman was passed down through the generations of my family.
Continued Freddie.
Why, we even remain friends with the Wampanoag tribe to this day whenever they come back and visit this forest.
The entire crowd listened in fascination to Freddie.
Is that who helps you, Freddie?
Asked Beatrice.
I mean, when we first met you and you asked the great creator to protect this area of our woods, it was because Faith knew the Wampanoag?
Indeed,
replied Freddie.
I beseeched the great creator to protect all of us, and Danny's secret passage, and even when I confronted the witch. Isn't it wonderful that the great creator accepted my prayer?
The crowd of friends sat in silence for minutes, reflecting on Freddie's tale. After a while, Sammy spoke up.
Dad, he's telling me a story from that night the mean old witch abducted you and Mom.
Indeed, son.
Beamed Solomon.
And what a story I have.
The crowd of friends gave their rapt attention to Solomon as the beautiful campfire crackled away, and everyone was enjoying a most marvelous evening together.
This is the story of 7 very special friends, and how they banded together to rid the forest of an evil menace.
Began Solomon.
One was the mightiest of creatures, who could lift the largest rocks and carry them right up the side of a canyon.
Beatrice smiled over at Harold, who was a bit embarrassed at the compliment.
Another was the fastest creature the forest has ever seen, and was so brave that he was willing to risk his life to save his friends.
Continued Solomon. Deacon and Daniela beamed with pride as they looked over at their son.
Another was a great engineer who was so smart that he could design the most elaborate of devices and plans.
Solomon added.
And he had a very special friend who was a master builder and could make the most intricate plans derived by the engineer.
Sylvia leaned into Sammy and Rocky and gave them both a big hug and a kiss.
And then there were 2 intelligence agents,
added Solomon as Beatrice and Martha bounced up and down, hardly able to contain themselves with glee.
These intelligent agents were able to fly high, map the entire path of the witch, and knew exactly when to spring the ultimate trap.
All eyes now shifted to Freddie as Solomon continued.
And the seventh friend in this heroic story was the most wise, compassionate, and incredible creature this forest has ever seen. This magnificent creature saw every other creature in the forest for what they truly are. He recognized that every one of us has special talents, and that we live on this earth for a reason, that we should love each other and support each other, that there is nothing that we can't do together. Oh yes, the hero of this story is very special indeed.